All right.
Call me Stacy. Ready?
Communal animals.
This is This is on the fly episode. We'll just have to explain that too. Okay.
Yeah, people love it when we're lazy. Look at this 1660 Peachtree cup.
Oh wow. I didn't know that was the company. Where'd you get that?
I've had it since I lived there.
How did you get it?
When you moved into 1660 Peachtree, it was such a high-class operation. They would give everyone a mug.
Oh, that's cool.
I tend to use the 20-year-old Target set mug. It's now being called vintage online.
Ugh.
I guess.
I heard some Gen Z person describe people like us born in the 19th century. From the 1900s, I'm sorry. Ew, weird.
What? What's weird?
We were born in the 1900s.
Yeah, the 20th century.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's why I knew that was wrong, because I knew that that's not right. Ready?
I guess it's weird.
I'm a fool to do your dirty work.
I mean, at some point it's weird, especially when you're really old and you're one of the few people left. Like, think about the people who were born in the 1800s, late 1800s.
Yeah. They're like, big deal. Oh, wait a minute. There's nobody else.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, that person was born in even if it was 1899.
It's so weird. What was that?
It was a weekly screen time report popped up. I don't like modern technology. It happened on my phone, but my phone somehow has been paired with my computer. So when things pop up on my phone and I'm near my computer, not all the time, just when I'm near my computer, so it's probably a Bluetooth thing that I need to turn off. It just starts popping up on the computer also, which I can understand the convenience, but
I hate that. This is a little bit different, but I bought a little mini Alexa for my car, and because it was on sale and it was really cheap. And sometimes when it's just parked, my car is just parked in the parking lot, and maybe I'm parked close enough to my home, my phone will come up and say, "Hey, it's safe to drive. Like, your Alexa's paired." Or I'm like, "Are you a passenger?" Stuff like that. I'm like, "I'm in my house. Leave me alone."
Yeah, what does the car Alexis do?
You can
Alexa. Sorry, I called it Alexis. I don't know its name.
That's kind of better, because then people their Alexises won't go off when you say their names.
But don't you have to say, "Hey"?
No, that's for Google.
Oh.
Okay, Google.
Well, then they should have made it I know that Alexa is not the most popular common name, but they should have made it something really ridiculous.
Well, Echo is the other name.
Like Barfala. Barfala.
I'm sure eventually you can change it to anything you want, but right now it's either Alexa or Echo.
Barfala. What's the lifespan of a penguin? See?
The lifespan of... Here's what I found on the web for lifespan of the penguin. Wait, what was I going to tell you? Was I saying something?
I was asking what a in-car Alexis does.
It's
Alexa.
It's for sometimes, like... Oh, the other day I was pulling into my parking spots. I was parking, and I could see that my living room light wasn't on, and so my house was going to be dark when I walked in. So I said, in my car, I said, "Alexis, turn on the living room light," and she did. And you can add things to your grocery list while you're driving. You can ask her questions. You can play playlists, from your Amazon account or from anywhere, I guess.
I'm really not into the smart home. I don't like it. I don't like the Ring doorbells. I don't like being watched all the time.
I don't like the Ring doorbells either, because you're constantly getting notified by something. Yeah. You know what I mean? I would rather, if I had the Ring doorbell, I would have it set, even because I'm not really afraid of crime. I would have it set to only talk to me if someone pressed it. Because my parents have one, just because it came with the house where they moved. And their phones are constantly making the ding-a-ling-a-ling noise.
And that doesn't drive them crazy? They don't turn that off?
I don't know. They're easy. My dad will be watching a movie that he found on TV with commercials, because they still have cable. He'll be watching all of the commercials through, like, Harry Potter or something, when they own all the Harry Potter movies, so they could, like, put in the DVD or of whatever. And all of those are available on the streaming services that they have. But my dad just like, I don't mind. So yeah, they just like don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah, but I feel as though the Ring thing, all the alerts are a bother. I understand. I understand what you're saying, in that he watches movies on cable and just maybe doesn't care about things.
Being bothered.
Well, that's the thing. The Ring would bother. That's a bother.
Yeah, I agree.
Watching, it's amazing they still have cable. I realize now that cable viewing is a passive experience, and maybe that's why people like it, because you go in not knowing and not having to think about what you are going to watch, and things are just presented to you. And you're like, okay, that's there.
I do remember, like early on not early on, but I remember going into like to stay at the Highland Inn, and just turning on the TV and just like flipping around, and it feeling very good. It feeling like very familiar and like comfortable. Like, oh, I can just watch something. But then I would turn it off quickly because I didn't really find anything, or commercials would happen for 45 minutes, in a 20-minute show.
Yeah, you really hate commercials.
I really do. The other day, I was trying to get the kids to watch a movie, and I had searched for it through my Roku and found it on Amazon Prime. And when when you search for it, you just select it, and it sort of starts that app on its own, and it starts the movie on its own. And then a commercial started. I was like, oh, fuck that. And so I went back and I had to rent it for like $4. And it wasn't even a movie I really wanted to rent, but I was like, I refuse to sit through commercials.
I mean, commercial blocks were getting pretty ridiculous, and I think there's still long. You're talking about movies that are on cable, on TV. Those still have pretty long commercial breaks, and MTV was always the worst. MTV had really long commercial breaks, if I remember.
Really long. I think you're right. MTV and I think it was like was it like either TNT or USA? How like it would be a really long time before a commercial would start, right? Like they'd give you like 45, 50 minutes of maybe like 45 minutes of a movie, right? They'd start with a commercial. It would be tolerable. They'd get back to the movie. And then it felt like as the movie was almost about to end, the commercial segments would jump in sooner and sooner and sooner.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They want to hook you. And then so you're invested in the movie at that point, and then it's like, all right, now the last 30 minutes is going to take 2 hours.
God, but can you imagine, like, you're watching a movie and you're into it, and then, maybe it's serious or it's heartfelt, or you're feeling something, you're feeling the mood that's so many people worked so hard to set, through the writing and the lighting and the camera work and the whatever. And then there's like Flo from Progressive making some stupid joke, you're just out of it. So like when you go back to out of the commercial break after a lizard has, stopped talking to you about car insurance, then, or the general, and then it's like some serious moment that you're supposed to like jump back into and feel. And then at the end, you're supposed to be like, did I like that movie?
Well, if you're watching any movie on TV and using it as the guide to decide if it was a good movie or not, you're an idiot, because also the editing that goes into it, they just chop it up because it has to fit. In the
beginning where it says like this movie's been edited for time.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be changed. The aspect ratio used to be changed too, obviously, when we had 4:3 TVs, and you would lose. I mean, that was pretty ridiculous too. Some people didn't care. They thought it wasn't a big deal. It was like, hey, this thing was shot with that in mind. There are things happening in the edges of the frame. So if you're losing that, then that's when they would do the pan and scan, where they would like.
Oh, that was always, and it always looked like choppy.
Because it was done after the fact. It wasn't, natural to the.
The worst culprit, the one that I noticed the most was Multiplicity.
When is that? The one with Keaton?
Yeah, where he plays all those, he like is cloning himself, and the clones get more and more dumb.
And that one copy
is
of a copy,
pan and scan, huh?
A copy of a copy.
Yeah, exactly. I love Michael Keaton, and I hated that movie so much. But maybe I'd go back now and think it was funny.
Sadly,
stupid.
I don't even remember watching that movie in its entirety, but obviously I did, because the thing I took from it, I think it was the first time it was introduced to me that a copy of a copy loses integrity, and you continue to make copies of a copy, and then you lose information. It's like, oh wow,
you didn't know that from like copying tapes?
I probably should have, or maybe I never thought about it. Here's the thing: I wasn't that big into quality. I was thinking about Napster days when if you downloaded the information was listed there, and if you downloaded a low bitrate file, it sucked. Like the sound quality sucked, unless it was egregiously bad. I just didn't care.
We didn't have a way to listen to it on a quality system, so we were just.
No, and I would
listening to
and I would record the radio. So I didn't, when you put a cassette in and you record the radio, I'm not.
Well, that's what I mean, like copying cassette tapes. Like if you had a cassette tape that you'd used a bunch of times and recorded stuff over, didn't you notice that like it would get warbly and weird?
Oh yeah, but that's different because that's using the same cassette tape over and over. I'm talking about making a copy of a copy of a copy.
I kind of felt like they were similar ideas, and so it's like, oh, it didn't hit me like it hit you, I guess.
No, but I think. If you made a copy onto another cassette tape, I don't know, the cassettes, because they were analog though, they may have held fidelity. So if you had a cassette tape with something on it and you copied that to another cassette tape that was new, and then you copied that to another cassette tape that was new, I feel as though that would actually keep information. MP3s,
no, I think you're
though.
Right.
MP3s, the whole thing with an MP3 is like there's information already missing. And that's why it's a smaller file size, and there's gaps that are filled in. And if you have an MP3, and if you just copy it straight up, it's fine. But then if you make a change or you do something, you save it again as an MP3, then it starts pulling out even more information.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or online, as you see, especially on old person Facebook. I say this as a middle-aged person, but it's like Facebook really is for grandparents at this point. People post pictures or videos that are so fucking pixelated because it's a screenshot of a picture of the thing that they liked, and then it was cropped, and then it was screenshot again, and then a person saved it, and then they post. It's ridiculous, and then at some point it's just become what they call moldy. It's like it's blurry.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Yeah, there's a whole subreddit, moldy memes, and if I'm on Reddit, I'm the asshole. Like it doesn't matter really, but I'm the asshole who, if someone posts something and it's old and pixelated, I will post in the comments subreddit moldy memes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I think Tim Andrews' dad once posted some really horrible meme that was quote moldy, and I sent it or I screenshotted it or something because I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, here's the thing: you can usually find the original if you like it that much.
Yeah,
you can find it, and then just find the.
Is it because they can't see very well?
No, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that because that's too much of an excuse. It gives them a way out.
I'm not trying to give them an excuse. I'm just trying to figure out why they would say, "Oh my God, my mom has like some digital photo frame things." In her house, and not even digital ones, but also just like regular pictures that she's printed from her color printer, photos of me and like the kids and stuff, but they're so pixelated. Like she only saved the small version, like the thumbnail version, and then tried to make it bigger, and it looked horrible.
Yeah, that's
I was like, Mom, you got to get some better pictures. She was like, well, that's what I had. Like, she doesn't care. She's like, I just wanted it done.
Yeah, it's like me, the Napster music. And when I say that, by the way, I didn't mean that if it was so bad, I would listen to it. But, right. There's these audio files out there who spend tens of thousands of dollars on a sound system, the turntable, and they want to maximize the audio fidelity. I have a friend who's like this, and I've listened to it. It sounds good.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know enough. I don't know what I'm listening for. I know that it exists. Like, there's a reason people do this. But to me, I was like, doesn't matter that much.
I mean, that's fine. I think that is almost like an opinion on food. Some people, want to have this sort of experience when it comes to food, and they'll want to try something that's been aged and sauces that have been, worked on and cared for and used, high quality. And sometimes you just want like a sandwich. No condiments and chips.
I only ever want a sandwich. I don't like the high.
So that's what I mean. Like, you're fine with the not food not needing to be an experience. You're fine with music not needing to be such an experience.
Yeah. But again, I am backpedaling a bit. When I was younger, I didn't even think about these things. Like, okay, here's the song. I'm happy to have the song. But yeah, I wish I am interested, I guess, a bit to know what it is people hear and listen for with those high quality systems. With food, I understand it a bit more. Like there's subtleties and complexities that I can't grasp, I guess, but I understand why it's a little more obvious that if someone put a lot of thought and time and was a bit experimental or mixed, I know why people get pulled into it. Or if you go, to a fancy restaurant, people like the service. I don't necessarily like being served. I don't like that dynamic. You sit there and bring me my food and beverage. And I'd rather get my food myself, honestly, even if I went to a restaurant. You put in the order like a Wawa. You go in, there's a touch pad. Well, and be careful what I wish for because airports have those iPads everywhere and they stink. I really can't stand that.
Airports have the iPads everywhere?
Oh, yeah. There's airports. Atlanta doesn't, I guess, still. But in New York...
I haven't seen them at BWI either.
They installed a lot of these iPads where you just place your order. But they're not working most of the time. I think that's the thing that bothers me the most. I don't mind the lack of human interaction. But at a restaurant, sure. You put in your order and then it's like the bell rings. Ding, ding. It's like, okay, there it is. I'm going.
Well, the point, the service
I'll go pick it up from the window.
I mean, I understand what you mean. But when you go to a fancy restaurant, the service isn't just like, bring me whatever I want. It's that person is the like Sherpa that's going to guide you through this menu today. So it's not the same.
You're right. We went to a really fancy restaurant. Some friends were in town, and then we all went, and there was, the person explaining the foods and the choices on the menu and where the ingredients came from. And again, to me, it's like, okay, great. But
see, I like that stuff because, like, if I go to a museum, and I'm looking at a piece of artwork or something, I'll think, all right, interesting. Okay, I see. And then, but if someone is there to explain the piece and say, like, this is what the artist was doing, and this is what was happening at the time, and this is like,
see, I don't like that. That's a good point. That's a very good comparison. But I prefer like tour guides. So whether it be in a museum or not, with a museum, I like to figure it out on my own or draw my own conclusions. And if I'm in a city visiting that I don't live in, I don't ever want to go on an official tour. I want to go explore my own and figure the stuff out. But I understand the value to it and how it can pull you into the world.
Well, walking around and exploring a city is different. I agree with you there, especially because those tour guides are usually like with other tourists. And on our episode, I think that we talked about like traveling, or I don't know. I never want to be considered like, I don't ever want to like hold up a sign that tells people that I'm a tourist. I'm sure that people can tell, and in some cities that I'm a tourist, but I don't ever want to like, I would love to be more inconspicuous than that.
Yeah.
If you're on a tour, look. But I mean, there are things in the city that you might not know. You know what I mean? Like the tour guide walks you through and says, like, do you see that window up there? That's where Picasso painted his, like, okay, cool. I just looked like a window to me before.
And there's a lot of that stuff hidden throughout cities, but you can also figure it out on your own. I like it when you do a bit of research and you go out and you find it. Fine. It is a strange pull to not want to be seen as a tourist. I get it. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, though, especially if I'm in a city like Houston. What the fuck do I care if people in Houston think I live there or not?
No, but I agree. Like, I think Houston has lower stakes as far as if I'm considered a tourist or not. But if it's another sort of world, if I feel like I'm out of my element, I want to project that I'm like definitely not out of my element.
Yeah, if there's a city that runs specifically, there's a flow to it and a process.
And you're not used to that.
Yeah, you want to be able to fit in. Like New York is a good example of that. Any big city, you go to London. I've never been to Paris, but I assume there also.
Well, Paris especially. If you say like the feminine une instead of the masculine in, they'll stop you and be like, it's in.
Yeah.
Are you American? You American? To be American?
Yeah, I don't want to go to.
Fuck.
I avoid Paris for that reason. I think it's the reason it intimidates me because I don't want to go and be judged. And I know that, my whole life is avoiding judgment. So going to one of the most judgmental cities on the face of the planet.
You'd have to, the thing is, for you, you'd have to like not even try. You know what I mean? Like just be American.
No.
But don't be an asshole American. Like don't be the loud.
I'm not doing that either. That's why I'm not going. I'll go at some point. I would like to, but
yeah,
it's
or just be like, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna be me. Like if it was me, for example.
No, because this is, you go to a city and you want to respect the way that it operates. And so I've just accepted that Paris operates that way and I'm not going, even though I will at some point.
I know what you mean though.
Like I don't want to go there. I'm like, I'm here now and I'm going to do it my way.
Right. But what I mean is what I'm saying for me, what I would do is I would try and speak a little French with people and let them correct me and not be afraid. You know what I mean? Because it is so difficult to blend as the second you open your mouth or even the way you look. Like French people will know that you're American because your teeth are white. Like if you have really nice teeth, they'll be like, American. Fuck.
Yeah, didn't smoke enough cigarettes.
Yeah, I guess not.
You got to get those black lines in between your teeth. You smoke so many cigarettes.
Those are special kid cigarettes from Tigger.
You smoke so many cigarettes. You smoke so many cigarettes.
My favorite smoke. After a long day of playing outside.
Yeah, go bounce on your tail. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stupid. My tail's a spring.
I hated Tigger.
I don't like any of them. I'm not a big fan of any of the Disney characters.
Winnie the Pooh is sweet.
No. He's a doof. He's such a slow doof. Ask Winnie the Pooh to do a simple math problem. It'll take him 6 hours.
I am a little black rain cloud.
I really do not like any Disney character. There's no favorite.
What? What about Robin Hood?
No,
Fox is hot.
That's fine, but now you're also getting on the outskirts. I'm talking about the main characters.
You're talking about the Disney Renaissance of the first Renaissance of like a Little Mermaid. Aladdin,
not even that. Just like the
Lion King.
The core, like Mickey Mouse, Minnie, Donald Duck. The Looney Tunes counterparts were so much better. Daffy Duck's much better than Donald Duck. Mickey Mouse.
Donald Duck. Why are ducks so grouchy?
Mickey Mouse. I don't look into.
Donald Duck is grouchy. Daffy is grouchy. Scrooge McDuck is grouchy just by his name, Scrooge.
Yeah, the nephews are fine. They're a bunch of rascals.
But they're troublemakers. Yeah. Even in the original, like those early cartoons of Donald and his nephews, they were like being naughty. They were like stealing cigars. Did you ever see that one where they stole? Oh no, wait, they were trying to be nice. Hold on, I think that they did something where they like stole something of Donald's. And he thought that they had stolen his cigars because I think they took his cigar box and that they were going to try and smoke. And so he makes them smoke like every cigar. Yeah. And then they get sick or something. And then it turns out that they were getting him a present, I think, or something. They were doing something with that box.
I wish they would still make cartoons like that. Like some of that Disney stuff did have an edge to it that they would never, ever go near today. Yeah. Like it still surprises me because I think even when we were kids, Disney was known as, the safe option. And if I came across one of the older ones that got a little closer to like Looney Tunes type content, it did shock me. I'm like, whoa, Disney, what are you doing? So they made the decision to be family safe and friendly always.
Yeah, I hate it. I didn't have Disney Channel because that was for the rich parents to get.
Well, Disney Channel, we didn't have it either. Again, I had zero.
My friend had it, and so she liked gummy bears and stuff, and I hated the gummy bears.
That was on regular TV at some point, though, too, a Saturday morning.
Oh, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Oh, no, maybe it is. I thought Gummy Bears was on Disney.
It is. I think it's a Disney property. Sorry, I had to mute because I was coughing. I was choking on my coffee.
I was thinking, so it's okay.
I think it's a Disney property, but it was on Saturday morning cartoons, because we didn't have the Disney Channel. I never wanted the Disney Channel. I never asked once in my life for the Disney Channel, because fuck the Disney Channel.
Well, do you remember when all the programming was like, there was a huge like a lot of right after Us, right? Whatever just on the cusp after Us were those people who watched the Disney Channel, where they would draw the outline of the Mickey's ears thing. They're like, you're watching the Disney Channel. And they would do that Mickey Mouse thing with their like wand. That's a huge thing. That's a huge core memory for kids just a little younger than us. And we totally missed that. All of those live action shows with all the people that are now grown up and
famous,
maybe like famous or mentally ill.
Maybe the desire for fame is a mental illness.
Well, they're kids, Well,
I'm just saying in general.
What if it was treated like that?
A mental illness? It should be.
Yeah, what if fame was, if the desire for fame was treated like a mental illness?
I think that if you are so driven by the pursuit of fame, that is your goal in life, it should be considered a mental illness.
It's an illusion. Fame is ridiculous. The idea of fame is a total illusion.
Ultimately, what do you get out of it?
People know you.
Yeah, but what does that change? It doesn't keep you from dying. Ultimately,
true.
It doesn't.
But it makes someone feel fulfilled in some way.
But I don't think it does. I think the idea is that it'll make you feel fulfilled, because if you're famous, you've conceivably done something that's gotten you there. Which that's definitely changed these days. You can become famous and not have done a thing, but traditionally you've done something, you're like, all right, so my work's being recognized and people know who I am, and that's exactly what more could you ask for. That's wonderful. And then there's no such thing as fulfillment. It doesn't exist anywhere. It's just bits. I think that there's different
I think that there's different levels or categories of what fame could be, right? Because you could be famous in a niche category where you're just known for something and you're not famous to the regular person who doesn't know about the specific, like I said, niche thing. Or you could be famous for nothing, right? Like you're so you're either famous because of an accomplishment or some kind of contribution. And so that has more merit, right? You're not famous for nothing. There are people who are famous for nothing. Like people who are famous on like TikTok, maybe. Oh, like Bella. What is that girl who like did the weird like bouncy head cutesy thing on TikTok?
You're asking the wrong person, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, she got famous for just like being cute, on TikTok. She didn't really accomplish anything. So that kind of fame is interesting because like you would get the same attention as someone who did something or similar sort of attention that someone would get if they had actually done something, but it's empty. So it's not really fulfilling.
I think the whole thing's like empty.
Trick.
Yeah.
And so maybe those people who are sort of famous for quote nothing or feel like they're famous for nothing, like an actor, right? Because they're famous for something. And I'm sure that they've, done good for someone, like there's someone who feels like I came from, that town, that type of town too. And this person made, what I mean? So like you have given something to someone maybe, but for them, they feel like they've actually done nothing. And those are the ones who like go and try to sort of offset that by becoming an activist or...
You've really gone deep into this.
Don't you think that that's real, though? Don't you think that's true?
You've dissected this to shit. Just a pile of goo.
Not just shit.
It's a pile of... I've cut the frog up so many ways. It's just a lump of goo at this point.
Well, but I'm identifying the goo. This goo means that. That goo means this.
I followed what you're saying, and you're trying to draw all these different distinctions, and I think that's what made me laugh. Ultimately, I just think... If your desire is fame, I get the appeal. Look, I like the idea of doing something and people liking the work and then knowing my work. I don't like the idea of going out and everyone, I think some people do like this. For me, it's like going out and everyone knowing who you are and bothering you and calling out your name. Because it's not really their fault either. If someone's excited to see you, I would want to be nasty. I think that's why I hate this, because I wouldn't want to be nasty. And at some point you have to be. Maybe not even nasty, but you have to be short and cold with people, because there's no way to live your life otherwise. And
at some point you're going to hurt somebody, right? And not even like intentionally. You could be doing you could be reacting the nicest way you could. But people are still like, oh, okay, I get it. Too famous, too busy.
And maybe you just
I'm just having a breakup right now at this restaurant.
Maybe you just took 60 selfies and you're dealing with a personal thing and you don't want to do it anymore. And there's always going to be that moment in time.
Anytime I hear a story where it's like, yeah, I met Taylor Swift. She's a bitch. I'm like, yeah, fucking right. I don't believe your stupid story.
I mean, I think being in radio, we've been around famous people a bit more. Granted, it's still not in real life, but they come in and there's a bit more interaction than if you see someone out on the street. And I've certainly used that to judge character on if the person's nice or not. And I think that it's, we can keep it in mind that maybe they're just having a bad day.
Having to get up really early.
For, a stupid morning radio show. But for the most part, I think that my judgments are correct.
Well, we're not.
I'm not listing names. I'm not saying any names outside of.
That's fine.
He's dead now. Screech was a real jerk. That one blew my mind.
He was a jerk.
That one blew my mind because the guy's only famous, and it's weird now because he's dead. So I don't, talking about it.
You can't speak ill of the dead.
Well, it's just, I don't feel a need to, but so I don't need to pile on. But that guy was only famous for being on Saved by the Bell. That's the only reason. And if a radio station's having you in, if anyone's having you in, they don't care about your band. They don't care about your website where you're trying to raise money to save your house. I mean, maybe that's a bit of a novelty and there's more interest in that. But the reason you're there is because you're Screech from Saved by the Bell. And if you don't want to talk about it, why the hell are you there? And you can say, I don't want to talk about this at all. And I guess at that point, it's on the producer and the show to say, all right, then we're not booking you. And if you bring the person in and they have established that they don't want to talk about it and you still talk about it, I can understand why you'd be annoyed, but still, I think there needs to be acceptance. And there's a reality check. It's like, yes, okay. That's all people care about. So accept it.
I think the person in that position needs to say they're not dealing with reality if they don't think that the only reason why they're there is because of that one thing, and B, that the person that they're talking to isn't going to bring it up. That's not dealing with reality on reality's terms. What instead they need to do is say, like, listen, these people are going to bring this up. This is the only reason why they know me. I want to move on. I'm actually here for something else. So I need to figure out a graceful way to segue, deal with that, let them have the moment of talking to me about it, and then we can move on. But putting up a wall, especially putting up a wall like that, and then going into like a morning radio show, especially if we're talking about like the regular guys' days, not knowing that show, but being able to gauge what that show is. There's two men and a Southside Steve, like, you're going to say like, all right, this is this kind of show. I'm going to, even if I ask them, even if I have this wall up, they're going to push down that wall. They're going to break it down. So I need to figure out what's going on. People are.
And there's expectations. Just have realistic expectations, ultimately.
Yeah. Let people talk about it.
You should be so lucky.
Make a little joke about it and then move on.
You should be so lucky to be recognized for something, even if it is dumb as Saved by the Bell.
But that guy really we were right. He was a jerk.
Yeah. He stormed out at some point. And there were other people. But there's other instances of very, very, very nice people. Like Pee Wee Herman. That guy still seems to be ashamed about his arrest at the porn theater. Which...
Such bullshit.
It was. And I understand...
That should be... the police that did that and like the department or whatever, they should be under arrest for that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's like that guy can't get out from under that now. And then Granny's not around. This was like about 10 years ago. He had some stage show going on. And he does
a lot of voice work.
Yeah, he does. But as like visually on screen, he's not around as much. But he was...
I remember when he was still disgraced, and then I remember seeing him in that Batman movie. I was like, oh my God, Paul Rubens.
Yeah, and even
we threw the penguin over the bridge.
Even if you don't care that he was caught jerking it in an adult theater, and I don't, it's there in your brain, and like so he knows that. He knows everyone's thinking about it, even if they don't care that he did it, and that's
so sad.
Yeah, it's hard to escape that. But that guy was he was wonderful. I really liked him.
Oh, cool. He's a really cool dude. He's a weirdo, but
it's cool. One of the few celebrity photos I got taken. I had taken.
Oh, really?
Because I would, celebrities come into radio stations and then everyone comes out of the woodwork and the sales team's peeking through the studio window and they all want the pic. I would never do it. I refused. And because what am I going to do with it? I'm going to print it out like your mom and put it in a frame. This
with the line, like the cyan is running low. And so there's like a weird
there's a color shift too, because there's not... I love when people do print those out though, and they put them in a frame. So it's like you took something shitty and tried to make it nice. Why did you do that?
All you have to do is like send your pictures to Walmart or something. Like go to the CVS down the street.
No, Walmart
on real photos.
I guess if it's digital, you can get it done quickly. We talked about film developing last week, but Walmart, it takes like a week and a half or something. I only saw this online. There's not even a Walmart around, but I was looking for places. And like, yeah, send it in. Send your
digital. It's cheaper. It's cheaper if you do it online digitally. If you just send the files to them, and then they'll send it to your house for cheaper than if you go in and then go back to pick them up.
Yeah, that makes sense. My radiator is letting out its steam.
I hear that.
Yeah, it's basically it's peeing, I guess, and it has waste that it needs to excrete. Anyway, so I think we've successfully avoided. We can backtrack and try to get back to the beginning where we get to your topic about communal animals. So
should we start the show?
So we can get back to, I'm just trying to loop us back. We were talking about, the black lines in the teeth because of the tar buildup. If you smoke too much, acting like a tourist in Houston. I don't do that. I don't like being seen as a tourist. Neither do you. So when I go to Houston, I rent the biggest truck I can find and I don't get out of it and I just drive on highways. And that's how I spend my time. That guy lives here. Definitely from here.
Oh, yeah. Did you see his truck?
And then...
Isn't it interesting that... I'm sorry, you want to go back?
No, go.
Don't you think it's interesting that...
we can go on backwards tangents now. So as we backtrack our long tangent, and we had all these little offshoots going forward, as we go back, we can have offshoots.
We've made like a cutting, like a plant. And we're taking the cutting, and we're putting that in a little jar and rooting that, and then we're going to plant it. Isn't it interesting that there's this movement out of LA that so many people who are, famous, celebrity LA.
Wait, you're going back there? We got back to trucks in Houston, but okay.
Excuse me. Hold on. Let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That they're moving to Austin. Everybody's moving to Austin.
I didn't know this. It doesn't surprise me, I guess.
I saw this weird clip.
Austin's overrated. The Keep Austin Weird thing, that's all bullshit now.
I thought that was Portland.
No, it's Keep Austin Weird. Maybe Portland also did it. Maybe
I think Portland was first.
I feel like, I don't know. I'm sure that the Austonians would probably have a word with you if they heard that. It's all bullshit now.
We're going to lose so many listeners from Austin.
Well, it's like at some point it's organic. It's like, yes, okay, this is a weird little town, especially in Texas because it's this artsy oasis in the middle of an otherwise conservative working state. And there's weirdness that comes out of that. But then once you start saying we got to stay weird, then you start introducing weird things for the sake of it. And it's not the same. But you were saying.
I just think it's interesting. I saw this weird clip of Pauly Shore and Chris Kattan. And they were walking around together in this like thrift store. And even Pauly Shore, I just thought it was Pauly Shore was like, you got to get out of LA, man. LA is done. LA is over.
Oh, yeah. Says Pauly Shore, just like you. Hey, you're done. You're over. What a weird thing to say.
I know. Well, he said that, I don't know if he's joking or not. He's so deadpan these days. He was telling Chris Kattan that he and Pauly Shore should do like a sort of Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra type Vegas sort of show together, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, and then he, oh, what else did he say? He said, that he kept asking Chris Kattan for Will Ferrell's phone number, and saying that he met him once and at a Equinox. and he was really nice, and Will Ferrell said, "Call me anytime," but he didn't get his phone number. And he was like, "So Chris, could I have Will Ferrell's phone number?" He's like, "No."
You love this.
I just thought it was just so odd. It was such an odd pairing. And Chris Kattan, like, does he have some sort of like physical disability?
I don't know.
He looks strange now as he's gotten older. I mean, he was always kind of diminutive, right? He was always kind of small. But now it's like he almost looks like Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé, where he's like, his body is like bigger than his like strange proportions. I don't know. Look up Chris Kattan now and see what he looks like. He looks weird.
I'm seeing that he broke his neck during a Saturday Night Live sketch. And the diagnosis was he has an incomplete spinal cord injury.
Oh my God. So I was kind of right.
I mean, I don't know when this happened or what the after effects were.
Well, I know what it is. It causes someone like me to say, what's going on with Chris Kattan's body?
Why does that have to pop into your mind? Why can't you just let him exist as he exists?
I'm letting him exist. I'm just asking questions.
The questions that don't need to be asked, I think, is the problem here.
Your brain, I can't help that my brain notices things and then is curious about what that thing is.
Big Ed, 90 Day Fiancé.
Oh, Big Ed, full of cum.
I hate that man. That guy.
It's like, I haven't had sex in 28 years.
I mean, it's just everything is about him. And even when things happen that are sad or serious, it's just he wants pity and the attention that comes along with it. And he doesn't listen to what people...
He was so rude. He was so rude to Rose. He was,
but
rude.
He doesn't ever listen to anyone. He's like, I need to find love and it needs to happen now. Do you want to find love? No, not really. I want to take my time and let it play out. Well, can I kiss you? No, you can't. Oh, well, too bad. And then he forces himself on the person and kisses them and says, you love me now. I hate him.
Well, she loved, if we take it as it's given, she did seem to love him. And like was excited about seeing him and being with him. And then he asked her for a STD test and then told her breath stinks and then told her to shave her legs.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
what an asshole.
Yes, there's no denying that.
28 years and you can't fuck
any guy,
this hot woman who wants you.
Any guy who has a tattoo of himself on his body is an asshole.
He has a tattoo of himself?
Yes, there's a caricature. During that season you're talking about, he didn't have it yet, but when his fame hit, when he grew, this can loop us back to the fame topic. Like that went to that guy's head. He's got his own line of things or stickers you can buy of the Big Ed caricature, and then he's got that. If you look it up, he's got that exact tattoo on his body. Like he slaps his sticker on his stupid moped, on his backpack. So his face is pretty much everywhere.
Ew. It's on his calf.
Yeah.
His calve.
That guy.
It's not a very good like meme of him or whatever. Or what is it? Caricature. It's not very good.
No, he's not very good.
I'd rather see him with that, like in that kimono putting mayonnaise on his head.
Anyway, maybe this is a little too niche for some people.
No, people who are watching 90 Day Fiancé are
yes, the people who are watching 90 Day Fiancé know Big Ed.
And if you're not watching it, then you got to get on board.
No, it's like the Marvel.
It's not too late.
No, it's like the Marvel universe at this point. Where do you start?
It is so hard to know where to start. You just got to start. You just got to start season 1, episode 1. I started with before the 90 days. Yeah, I started before the 90 days. And that was really interesting because then that was the people that were they visiting the place? Oh yeah, they were visiting the place that they were gonna meet their foreign bride. Or
no, I think it's the husband. Other. Oh yeah, before the 90. But then there's the other way where they also go.
Yeah, but that's where they want to live in the other country versus living in the United States. I hate everybody says America. Coming to America. I hate that. It's the United States. America is like includes South America. The United States is not, and Canada.
Yeah, you sound Canadian now, I was going to say. You're getting really riled up over this. How dare you?
Well, it's annoying.
I understand that it's all U.S.-centric and it's annoying for other people, but...
Yeah. I'm annoyed by it. Does Big Ed have a BDSM tattoo?
I don't know. All I know is...
That like weird like thing on his other shoulder looks like a BDSM tattoo.
All I know is I watched this latest season that he was on, which I think was the Single Life.
Single Life?
Season 2.
Because on the Discovery Channel like app thing, because the title image or the cover or whatever for the show, Single Life, is him standing there, with his arms crossed looking at me. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
if it was Stacey and Darcy on the front, I'd watch it.
No way. It's worth watching. He does feature prominently in it, but it's just amazing to watch this moron operate, this clueless, self-centered asshole. He goes to Mexico and he's set up through a friend with this sweet lady, and she's like very in tune with herself and the world around her, and she's the kind of person who is genuinely willing to give a person a chance despite their looks and wants to get to know them. And like tells him so many times what he's doing that doesn't work for her, because he's like I'm only here for 2 weeks. Got to find love. Got to be in love before I leave. Got to find it. And she's like, hey, these things need time. It needs to breathe. Let's just sit here for a moment and enjoy this. And he can't not talk. He has to continue to talk. And it's so much, can you just shut up and sit in silence? She brings up to him. And it's amazing to me how clueless and unaware this guy is.
It is so strange that...
What was that noise?
Oh, it's mine. It's the lady next door. This wall I share with her kitchen.
My God, it got so loud.
It was loud?
Like you're boosted automatically to compensate for the noise. It's like, can't hear this enough. So let's automatically boost.
Weird. Oh, that's what it did. Oh.
Yeah, it's going to come back.
There it is again. Okay, I'll whisper.
No.
Oh, wait. What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Turn off the automatic volume input gain adjustment, whatever it is.
I don't have that.
What is she doing? What is this?
I don't know. Oh, it's probably maybe like a blender, like one of those blenders.
Tell her to make her fucking smoothie at 10:30.
She's done. I can hear her hitting the sides.
Unbelievable. That's what you think. She's hitting the sides and it needs another blend because the stuff got stuck on the sides.
She's finding the chunks.
Anyway, it's worth watching. Yeah. And
it is.
No,
I was going to say that it's so strange.
For you. I meant for you. I'm not saying it's worth watching for everyone. I'm just saying if you like it, The Single Life is worth watching. Don't go if you're not into it and you don't like this kind of shit, don't take my word that it's worth watching because it's trash. It's utter trash.
Duh. Wouldn't that be any?
I'm just saying. I'm not promoting a work of art here.
Of course not. It's absolute garbage. But sometimes garbage is awesome. Like you eat a bag of chips. Chips aren't good. That's not art.
Yeah, but
it's still good.
You're not supposed to eat nothing but chips, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't consume nothing but 90 Day Fiancé. However, I have been binging every episode of Pillow Talk, which is my new favorite.
Yeah, I'm not into that one. I don't know why. Because you watch the episode, then you watch the same episode, but you get people's commentary on it. You love the commentary.
Well, I do because I feel so... a lot of things make me feel lonely. Because I think I'm a little lonely. So watching 90 Day Fiancé on my own is good. I like it. But all I want to do is laugh about it with someone else and talk about it. And I texted my friends do you watch this show? Some people are like, oh, I used to watch. I'm not watching. So finding Pillow Talk was great because then I got to hear a lot of the things that I had thought, and then I laugh with them.
That's why you want to do even though the season's almost over, the Sex and the City, and just like that. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
The supplementary podcast because you want to be the Pillow Talk person.
Yeah, I do.
People are going to listen to me and then I'll say the things that they're thinking and then they'll laugh.
Yes, that's exactly right. Listen, I love podcasts and we do a podcast. And so I understand the other side of it, So yeah, I want to provide that for people. I want to be that person. And not because and I'm not delusional. I think I am able to provide that.
Then you should do it. I never want to discourage doing it.
I know, but I need someone to bounce with. I can't do it alone.
When you present it, though, as like an offshoot of this podcast that we then charge for, I saw like Patreon, 0 subscriber. Like I saw it in my head.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I can't be in that position because again, I got to avoid failure and judgment at all costs. So
no, that's silly.
So if it was just launched as its own, I think you would have to.
But I want to try and make a little money.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to make a little money.
I know. Even this show.
But neither of us want to shill.
No, I won't. I can't. Yeah. Like if you set it up so that the show wasn't, I just don't think people would listen. I think there's like 6 people who'd say, okay. So is the little bit of money worth losing listenership?
That's $30. $35.
$35? This is not worth $35.
I could fill up my tank of gas with that.
Oh, you're talking about if you made $35. I thought that you're saying like the one person pays $35 a month.
No. 6 people listen to it.
Yeah, okay.
And then they pay $5 for the episode, and it's $35. And then
for the episode, not even a month. The $5 doesn't even get you a month; it gets you an episode.
Oh,
is that what you're? That's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's better because if we don't produce an episode because the season's on a break, then you don't pay for the month, and we have nothing. We haven't posted anything.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe $1 an episode, $5. You can, that movie you didn't even want to rent was cheaper than that, and that was it was a big production. Wasn't 2 people just avoiding a topic?
No. If we had something that we gave out, if we did an extra episode a week, then that could be like $1 a month. Or I'm sorry, $1 a month, right?
But what would make it different or special? I said, what would make it different or special? Why would people?
We would have to talk about things that we wouldn't talk about on this show, like secret.
Yeah, but that's there aren't really any.
Yeah, it would probably just turn into bitching about the show.
There was one that then, you're talking about like inside baseball type of stuff? Where then it becomes very, that's very narrow. So then you have to have people, granted, I know most people who listen to this podcast probably also listen to the radio show, and that's why they listen to this podcast. Mm-hmm. But at that point, it's really only directed as like, all right, so these two. They're on another radio show, and now we're going to dish the dirt on that other radio show. It's okay.
I don't really want to do that. I'm just saying it would have to be something worth subscribing to.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't guess so. I agree, but figuring out what that is, it doesn't make sense to me, and that's why I
don't know either. But then how else can we make a little money off?
I don't think we do. I don't think this is worth.
I don't need it to make money. I enjoy doing it. I love talking. I really like this show, even though it was not focused on a topic. But
we'll get to. We're gonna start the show here in a second.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna introduce the topic that I didn't feel like I could speak to because you had watched some Jack Hanna show. And
no, I just thought about it and I thought it was interesting.
You watched.
I always think about that. This one line in War Games, where they meet the guy, Dr. Falcon.
Hold on, this ties to communal animals?
Yes.
Okay, so hold on, save it for the show.
Welcome to One Topic, where we stick to one topic. My name is Autumn Fisher.
My name is Greg Russ, and this week's topic, communal animals. Animals who live together in a community.
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd watched, Autumn. Something on Nat Geo, or, as I said previously, Jack Hanna possibly popped up somehow.
No, I always think about this one scene in War Games where they go to that little island where Dr. Falcon is living, and he talks about the extinction of the dinosaurs, and then he says like that will happen with humans too, And the next, because humans were the small little mammals, 65 million years ago, whatever. And then he's like, the next ones will probably be the bees. The bees will be the next rulers of the earth. And I always think like, isn't it interesting that we really feel like we have been here forever and we will be here forever and we're the best and nobody else, no other species has it together like we do.
It's called arrogance.
And I think, it's total arrogance. And like, I think that Eric brings up a point sometimes where it's like, where's the Shakespeare of dolphins? If dolphins are so smart, it's like, it's a totally different metric of intelligence.
Yeah. And also doesn't mean that you can't dominate the planet if you can't write Shakespeare.
Yeah. How many billions of years did the dinosaurs reign? And there's no Shakespeare. Dinosaur Shakespeare.
But all right. So communal animals. Yeah. Elephants.
So I just think that's interesting. I think about elephants, dolphins, ants, bees.
You didn't want to talk about penguins for whatever reason.
I don't feel like the penguins are that communal. They live in a community, but they don't
mate for
they
life.
Don't have like a society.
Yeah, they do. They mate for life and they have different groups and they stick with their groups. And if a group passes another group, they don't get mixed up and just jump to the other group.
That's cute.
This is why we pushed this to the end to have a. I didn't start the show and had the long conversation to begin with because it's an interesting idea if we did a lot of research on it.
True.
And knowing you, especially.
Listen, we came up with this. I came up with this topic at like 11 p.m. last night, and we had to record today at 9.
I know.
That's 9 a.m. So.
That's why just the amount of time and prep we couldn't put in.
We had
so
no time.
It wasn't a good. It wasn't a topic that I felt comfortable and confident tackling.
Sure, I understand.
But I can tell you this.
How about this? We'll just leave it here. Isn't that interesting? let's not think that we're so high and mighty that other animals don't have just as much of a society as we do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's different ideas.
And let me tell you this: an elephant's trunk weighs 400 pounds.
No, it doesn't.
But it can pick up things as small as a single grain of rice. That's it.
Wow. Is that real? 400 pounds? I see you.
I like the idea of us then closing the show on that instead of.
I do. I like that too, but I'm
analyzing
flabbergasted. All right, you want to do it again, and we'll end it.
Get this: an elephant's trunk weighs 400 pounds, but it can pick up things as small as a grain of rice.
Thanks for listening to One Topic. You can like and subscribe, rate and review. Tell your friends about some really good hot sauce and give them a discount code. OneTopic15 for 15% off. You can go to hoffandpepper.com and support our sponsor. So thank you. Bye.